we call it ring sting on one side. And if you do too much oil in a day, you get what's called fire hose.
I did not know that.
Sorry, ladies, we're both married. Hi, I'm Smokin' Ed Currie.
And I'm Noah Chaimberg.
And this is Hot One Spice School.
These guys have done this before.
We get all sorts of questions thrown our way about growing peppers, eating peppers, and the science behind the peppers.
This is your one-stop shop. You've got questions, we've got answers.
So here's our first question, Noah. What makes the seeds so hot compared to the rest of the pepper?
Ooh, that's a good question. And a trick question. The seeds actually themselves are not hot at all. What's hot is the placenta tissue here, this white membrane that holds the seeds. That's the part that actually has all the heat. So if you're making a salsa at home and you want to use a jalapeno and you don't want it to get too hot, make sure to take out that white part, the membrane and the ribs that are holding all the seeds, because that's where all the heat is.
When we're harvesting seeds to replant, we give them a little wash in hydrogen peroxide, and it takes the pepper oil off. If you ate a seed that you washed, there would be no heat at all. Hi, Ed. Why is your heat tolerance so high? Do you think you have fewer receptors than most people? Lee, I have the same heat receptors all human beings have. The difference is that I've been doing this since 1981, and my body has become acclimated to the capsaicin that's in peppers and hot sauce and oil and stuff. All humans, all mammals, have the exact same receptors, unless you have a medical condition.
You can build your tolerance, right? And I think actually tolerance for capsaicin builds in a pretty short amount of time. So I tell people, if you want to be able to handle spicier foods, you're going on a trip to some country where you're going to be eating a lot of spicy stuff, take a month, get 4 bottles of hot sauce and do 1 a week and just step yourself up, and you will be ready for spicier food in no time. How do peppers interrupt your hearing?
And you can also feel it in your ears, you know.
The increase in blood flow from the elevation of your metabolism when you eat peppers also affects the tubes in your ears, because there's blood flow going through the blood vessels and the veins and arteries right there. And that's why people hear them ringing in their ears. If you've ever been to the dentist and they give you nitrous oxide, you hear wah, 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 wah. That's the same thing.
I did not know that. Why do some hot peppers have a delayed heat while others are spicy right as it touches the tongue? That's really interesting.
Here's the tongue. All right, we have different receptors on different parts of the tongue for different compounds. All right, the chocolate peppers have a lot of tannin in them. So for me, I get a real delayed reaction and it burns on this part of the tongue. Whereas ghost pepper for me burns right in here, but it starts from the back and comes forward.
Right.
Okay, that has to do with the lack of tannin. So where it burns on your tongue has to do with the different compounds that are in the peppers and the different flavonoids that come with the different colors.
Ghost pepper is one of my favorite for cooking with because of that delayed reaction. People can taste everything else that's in the food first, and then the heat comes after you've been able to appreciate the full flavor.
Okay, this comes from Chieftain 10 Beers. Why do I love hot peppers, but my butthole doesn't the next day? He said beehole, but I like saying butthole.
The answer is that these nerve receptors that we've been talking about, the TRPV1 nerve receptors, so they're in our mouth, that's for sure, right? Because that's where we feel the capsaicin, but they're also our eyes, our nostrils, all over our skin, our whole body. We're covered in these things, and it's the same nerve receptor that picks up physical heat. So if you took a match and touched it to your finger, that's that same nerve receptor. It's just that the ones that are on your fingers and most of your body have become very desensitized because they interact with the world all the time, and they're much less sensitive versus what's in your mouth or your nostrils or some parts that your underwear cover.
At the Pucker Butt Pepper Company, we call it ring sting on one side. And if you do too much oil in a day, you get what's called fire hose.
How exactly does the Scoville system work? I've had hot sauce before that doesn't seem to line up with the system in terms of spice level. This comes from Sweet Sober Caroline. The reason we call it the Scoville scale is because in, I think, 1911, there was a pharmacist named Wilbur Scoville who was actually working on what would become like icy hot. So the hot in icy hot, it comes from capsaicin from chili peppers, and he wanted a way to measure how hot he was making things, the chilies that he was using. So he came up with this scale, and what it means is, if something measures 1,000 on the Scoville scale, that for 1 drop of the chili distillate, that it would take 1,000 drops of water until a panel of 3 expert tasters didn't taste the heat anymore.
The problem with that scale was it was totally subjective. Like, say, for example, Noah might use 10,000 drops to get rid of a jalapeno, where I might use 100. So science caught up with the Scoville scale, and there was a machine invented called an HPLC, a high-performance liquid chromatograph. We were able to come up with a scientific method that measure the amount of capsaicin that's actually in a pepper using this machine. Let's just use the ghost pepper. When it became the world record, it was about 1 million Scoville heat units. That 1 million Scoville heat units is the amount of capsaicin that is in this pepper. Well, there's a dilution factor that comes with each ingredient that's in the hot sauce. You're starting with a pepper that has 1 million Scoville, but then you're adding 2 or 3 ounces of vinegar. That dilution factor just brought that down to less than 100,000 Scoville heat units.
Yeah, I think that's where people get the most confused. It's really designed for chili peppers, not for sauces. Should I be refrigerating my hot sauces? The number one thing that you don't want to do is what everybody does at home, which is to keep their hot sauces right next to their stove. And the one thing you don't want is your hot sauces heating up and cooling down, heating up and cooling down. So don't put them on a windowsill, don't put them next to your stove. If you don't like them cold, put them in a cupboard or something, put them in the pantry. Or if it's a sauce with a lot of sugars in it, a lot of fruit content that might be more reactive, go ahead and put it in the fridge after you open it.
The pH is good enough that it can stay out forever, okay? That what you have to look for, and what happens the most, is when people are at home, they're not paying attention to what they're doing, and they're touching their food with the bottle of hot sauce. And that food contamination is what causes things to go bad. It's not the hot sauce inside.
Why don't birds find pepper spicy? Is it just birds, or does it affect humans differently from other animals? That's a really good question. So chilies do not want to be eaten by mammals because mammals all have molars, and molars crush things. So chilies, they want their seeds to survive and not get crushed. So they don't want mammals to eat them, but they do want birds to eat them because birds, they don't have any teeth. So they swallow the seeds whole, they'll fly away somewhere, and then they'll poop out the seeds in a nice little pile of fertilizer, and the chili propagates itself. It grows in new places that way. Why does spicy food make you sweat? To cool down, right? You sweat when it's hot to help you cool down. So spicy food makes you feel hot, so you sweat to help cool down. It's also why, when you think about it, people say, oh, it's too hot out to eat spicy food. It's like, no, think about where in the world do the spiciest foods come from. You think about parts of the Caribbean or Thailand or India. It's places that are hot. You don't think about Sweden or about Argentina or these other places that are cold, right? It's because people eat spicy food when it's really hot to cool themselves down.
Correct. This one's for you. What is your comfort food when you're sick of heat for the day? From Mr. Reginald.
I like ice cream at the end of the day, a little dessert before you call it a night. How about you, Ed?
I'm an ice cream man too. Every night, that's why I have these and these. Are super hots safe to eat? Heather from First We Feast. Heather, you should know this by now. Super hots are safe to eat. There is nothing in a pepper that can hurt you unless you have a predisposition to an allergy and nightshade. So if you're allergic to tomatoes or eggplant or something like that, don't eat peppers, okay? Or you have a circulatory issue, heart condition, aneurysm, things like that. And that being is because it raises your metabolism. We've actually measured it up to 42% now, okay? Eating super hots in large quantities. 42% raising metabolism raises your blood pressure. That's dangerous for people who have heart issues. That thing we feel as heat is just a reaction with base brain. There is no actual heat in the pepper. It cannot cause an ulcer. So it's actually good for you, not bad for you.
As long as you're eating spicy 3 meals a day, you're doing it right.
Correct. Oh, you're looking for a bad one.
No, I'm going in blind. That seems nice.
I'm gonna try this one, but these bumps indicate that there's gonna be a lot of heat in there.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Don't get yours
Okay.
on mine.
Wow, uh-oh. I got that throat thing, right?
Yeah. Mine's like a lower tongue one, but not too hot, thankfully.
Mine is really hot.
You don't say.
If you see in there, you see the oils, okay? Yeah. This thing is producing lots of oil just as we speak, and that happens when you cut into super hot peppers. It's probably 1.5 million or above. And right now it's affecting my throat. But I got tears. I'm a little pepper high. None of this is gonna hurt, even though my throat feels on fire right now, my mouth feels on fire right now, my eyes are watering, everything's kind of tingly. It's all just a base brain reaction that we perceive as heat. And all these things that are going on are just our bodies trying to get rid of that feeling of heat. I feel like dancing, Noah.
Thanks everybody so much for tuning in, for sending in those awesome questions. Be sure to tune in for part 2 next time.
Yeah, where we're gonna answer more of your questions, so make sure to send in more questions, and Noah is going to eat a big spoonful of the Thermageddon.
All right.
All right?